had to write up the perfect Eastern wild turkey hunt, what would it be?
The perfect Eastern hunt for me is,
early spring. The woods are still not alive, but not dead. You go a little hint of spring when you look down the ridge side.
A pretty sunshiny, warm morning, whippoorwills hollering.
I'm gonna get on the high ridge. I'm gonna get on a listening point.
turkey starts gobbling, surprises me, gets me fired up. I slip in there.
125 yards, let's say.
Get set up on him, he's gobbling good. Hit him with a couple little tree notes.
He's gonna gobble, and his accomplices are gonna start yelping back at me.
Frickin' screams at me, and I could tell he turns. So I hear him fly down, hits the ground, I hit him with a couple more.
It's just every second.
Your heart's in your throat and you don't know where he is.
I got my safe off, I'm freaking shaking like a leaf.
And you can literally hear his footsteps in those leaves coming. And it's gobbling loud, everything's shaking, and all of a sudden it just completely calm. And he's just looking for what he thinks I'm supposed to be, and it's not there. I've got you. And that's what I would think could be heaven. An Eastern on any given day in the spring can take you on the most emotional roller coaster you've ever been in your life.
An Eastern wild turkey, without a shadow of a doubt, is the undisputed king of all subspecies of turkeys. And there's 1,000 reasons why, but in a short way to say it, an Eastern turkey gobbling in the hardwoods. If that doesn't get you fired up, man, your wood's wet.
Some days can be the smartest thing I ever seen in my life.
What we base turkey hunting off of is the tendencies and the mannerisms of the Eastern wild turkey.
When Dad created Mossy Oak, he was trying to solve a problem, and that problem for him was, how do I hide better from the eyes of an Eastern wild turkey? When Dad created Mossy Oak and when he got the idea for Bottomland, it was like, it caught on like wildfire, and it grew so quickly because there was never a uniform up until that point. And it was like the day that Bottomland became a thing, when you saw it and you were a dyed-in-the-wool bow hunter, turkey hunter, duck hunter, it was like, damn, that's my uniform now.
Really, the objective was just to have something where when you're hunting and you're standing next to a tree, your back's against a tree, the vertical lines, it was just designed to be a tree wherever you are. The whole allure of turkey hunting is calling, getting them in as close as possible, tricking them, deceiving their eyes, their brains, tricking them into thinking that there's a hen somewhere in the vicinity, and obviously getting them in shotgun range. That was the game. Better camo, matching the trees you were sitting on, obviously helped that tremendously.
I mean, anytime you're talking about a wild turkey's eyesight and trying not to make a mistake, it's, most of the time it's going to come down to motion. If you're sitting there wiggling around and whatnot, moving your head left and right because you're getting a little fidgety like I tend to do sometimes, you just never know what might spook him. And so that was always instilled in us. It doesn't matter how invisible you think you look, but you need to try to be as still as humanly possible, like a freaking statue right there. It feels like life or death when you're sitting there with your back against a tree and your face mask up and even your eyes moving left or right is about as much motion as you want to get away with. You feel like they can see right through you. There's kind of a spiritual home for certain animals. When you think about big whitetail deer, you think about the Midwest. If somebody mentions elk, you're not thinking about Tennessee, Kentucky, you're thinking about Montana. When people mention Eastern wild turkey, you're thinking about the Southeast, and you're thinking about it Eastern.
When I first started, I can tell you this, it's totally different as that. The first turkey I ever called up in my life, I was looking this way, my shotgun, and I was looking at the turkey. He comes strutting through them old huckleberry bushes, coming through there, and I was looking at him like this, and I shot and blowed the leaves up over here, and the turkey was out here. That's the worst missed turkey in my entire life. I was scared to death, but what that did, that gave me that turkey disease, you might say. I've had it ever since. But anyway, I did manage to call some of them up, and they didn't have the pressure put on them as they got now. And I think pressure really makes a turkey hard to call up.
When you have anything, I don't care if it's what it is. When it's hunted with that type of enthusiasm, they become conditioned to be pretty sharp. You know, pressure over decades of being pursued, the strong survive and the smart survive.
I can honestly say that there's no other subspecies out there of turkeys that, for lack of a better term, piss me off as much as an eastern. When I get on one turkey, especially those true-blooded easterns in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, dude, you know, there's no other subspecies that does that, really. I mean, there's very few that have that wits about them to be that tough to kill other than an eastern.
The eastern subspecies specifically, they're less willing to compromise, you know, a situation, because they do have that instinctual ability to survive, and they've been fine-tuned over generations. And I think the eastern subspecies has that more so than any other.
Easterns are probably the hardest to kill just because of their inheritance, you know, where they come from. You know, the environment they grew up and all that, I think over time is what's made them challenging, and they've just naturally got that instinct.
When I first started turkey hunting, we didn't have the number of turkeys. There wasn't any turkeys hardly in the state of Kentucky, except just a very few areas. We formed the 3rd chapter in the United States for the National Wild Turkey Federation, right here in this county, Trigg County. We had 800 people at the meeting. Our goal was to hire a state turkey biologist and help buy some equipment, trapping nets and things like that, to help trap these turkeys for the restoration program. I remember in the 70s, the game warden called David and I to go with him to Christian County to turn some loose. It was 0. And I remember turning these turkeys loose. We turned 20-something loose. And I said to myself, I doubt any of them live. And I'm not for sure every one of them didn't live.
You know, there were plenty of people in most of the country that had just kind of written it off like it was a foregone conclusion that wild turkeys were going to go extinct. That generation of folks that were hunting in the 30s and 40s that almost lost them are the ones that brought them back. And it was specifically the southern turkey hunter that was obsessed with it that brought it back. You know, there were little pockets of Merriams out west, and there were a few states that held onto their population. But if it weren't for the southeastern states that were really truly obsessed with it, you know, I don't think we'd be sitting here talking about wild turkeys right now.
No doubt that turkey we dealt with the other day in the rain. No doubt. Hen clucking right here. That turkey had a different attitude than yesterday, or 2 days ago. The woodsmen that eastern wild turkeys create can be stacked against woodsmen of any other shape, form, or fashion. Frankly, I think if you find somebody that hunts easterns with regularity and can kill easterns with regularity, especially in the southeast, I don't think you want them hunting you.
If you don't know what the heck you're doing as far as moving around on a turkey, especially an eastern, you can't figure out how to get around this terrain and stuff, man, you're screwed. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, you might kill 2 or 3, but you're not gonna be as successful as you could be if you just know how to play the game. And knowing how to play the game is woodsmanship. There's no doubt about it.
It never gets old when we're on the show, baby.
Hey, if I hadn't have been on the island, he would have come down that road.
When it comes to my approach to turkeys and how I like to pursue them, I like to keep it as what I consider pure. I like to keep it my decisions versus his decisions. I like to cover ground because, in my opinion, there's a day for every turkey. No matter how old he may be, how wise and cagey he may be, there's a day he's vulnerable. And I like to cover ground and find the turkey who's on his vulnerable day, because those are the turkeys that I like to manipulate with a call. I like to put my decision making against his when he's vulnerable. You always have the upper hand if they don't know they're being hunted. Get as close as you can, put all the chips in your favor, and let him feel like he's got the upper hand. Like, let him feel like he's getting the high ground. Let him feel like he's able to see well enough to approach an area. Stay in the shadows and let him have the sunlight to use to his advantage.
You gotta know your terrain where you hunt. If I'm hunting hilly country, I want to set up right when that turkey comes in range over that ridge, sticks that red head up, comes over there, he's in shotgun range.
Their eyesight, they know that's their number one sense, and they put that to their advantage 100% of the time. And when we're hunting them, we're trying to use their second sense, their sense of hearing usually, to have them second guess their primary sense of eyesight. And that's the big chess match, is using something that they shouldn't rely on as strongly as they do, the one sense that has got them to where they have, and using that secondary sense to fool them.
Obviously, turkey hunting is all about that interaction with that gobbler. I think especially hunting easterns, you know, the most keen of the subspecies, when you sound like a real hen turkey, there's a light switch that goes off in his head, in that turkey's head, that you're real, and you're just gonna be more successful, there's no doubt about it. I think that something a lot of people don't understand about turkeys is that 9 times out of 10, all his hens come to him. So he hits the ground, he struts, he gobbles. The reason he's gobbling is to let hens know, I'm over here, come over to me. I don't wanna really go to you necessarily. So when you come into it with that mindset, that just tells you how precise you gotta be with your setup, with your calling. You gotta make everything as natural as possible, and you gotta paint that picture in his head. I'm a hen over here, and I'm not coming to you. I'm here, I want you to know that I'm here, but I'm not coming to you, you gotta come to me. And if you go into a hunt with that mindset, you're just gonna have a totally different outlook on it, and you're gonna be more precise. And precision, absolutely, just like any other type of hunting, man, it kills turkeys. The cool thing about an eastern hen is you'll hear, you know, it's the basis of all turkey calling, basically. You know, those Rios and those Merriams, they have like that more of a pip, like when they cut, so pip, 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 pip. They don't have that deep, throaty, you know, wild southern hen that just pop, 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 pop. And they've got such a broad range, man. They go from soft clucks and purrs to loud cuts, key runs, Jake yelp, and all that stuff. There's a really loud, you know, a really big span of noises that an eastern wild turkey makes. So a hen in the spring, she could start her day flying down, she gets in a conversation with a gobbler, another hen, she gets a little bit pissed off, then she goes to feed them. So this is kind of what that would sound like. You got to hit them with just the right amount, and it's all about taking a turkey's temperature. You know, you figure out what he wants to hear, you're gonna kill him. If you're not giving him enough, you know, he's just gonna have no interest in you. You're giving him too much, he's just gonna sit there and strut. I think it happens often that turkeys get overcalled to, especially easterns, but I think there's a lot of times where they get undercalled to too. You'd be surprised.
These old tapes right here are the ones that done it for me. I think Night in Hell, matter of fact, was probably some of the first ones that really drove me to, like, you know, want a turkey hunt. An eastern on any given day in the spring can take you on the most emotional roller coaster you've ever been in your life. Packing a lens or packing a gun, there's not a lot of difference. You know, I just want to get as close to turkeys as I can. And that's always been my thing. You know, that's why I started photographing or videoing turkeys to begin with, was because, one, I didn't have nobody really to teach me how to turkey hunt. I'd watch some of these old Night in Hell videos or something, you know, but the only I knew was to jank my mom's old handy cam and go out there and try to get as close to them as I could and video them and just learn from them. Every approach I take to photographing turkeys is just like I hunt them. It's still being very cautious of my surroundings. For one, the time of that year, you don't have much foliage, so getting in on, tight on a roost, either before daybreak or, after they've already gotten down and maybe I didn't get set up right or, they didn't come to where I thought they wanted to. Like, approach is everything, and it's patience again. I always wanted to showcase him in ways that people probably didn't think about, the details in it, and setting up on a bird that I knew I could get the right photographs with. So when I came back, here at home, and I got to editing, I could crop in certain ways, crop in tight, I could showcase, how beautiful their heads actually are, like the language just in that alone, between the colorations of the heads or the snood, feather details, strutting, not strutting. There's so many detailed makeups of a wild turkey that I never felt like nobody was ever showing anyway. Talk about other turkey photographers or whatnot, there ain't many guys just photographing the eastern, not in the South. It ain't easy. For me, I feel like, if I always wanted to be the best at my game, the eastern was the only species that would challenge me in a way to become the best. What I've caught myself doing a lot of times when I'm photographing turkeys, versus just beating down on one to kill him, is not feeling like I'm having to be, got red in my eyes and wanting to, squeeze the trigger off and kill him as soon as possible. It's giving me more, open-minded. I'm more paying attention to that bird, the details. Learn him, I guess you could say, than just in his day, in his life right there. And for me, that's maybe a better, woodsman, maybe a better turkey hunter, everything. His approach, his body language, there's just so much more to the bird if people give him a chance to actually get to know him.
Pretty incredible when you consider it's a bird that's brought us all together. Put it on paper, he's just a bird, but you look at the amount of people from different walks of life, from different corners of the country that he has brought together. This is a well-orchestrated machine. This is not by happenstance. The wild turkey was put here for a purpose, to give us that spiritual presence, and it's up to us to make sure we keep him on that pedestal. And due to that desire, that spiritual experience, if it's springtime, you're going to find my back against a tree looking for that experience, and the king will be there too.